Welcome to Neuro Stories, the podcast that highlights the people behind neuroscience at the Walton Centre. Together, we'll lift the lid on the complex worlds of neurology, neurosurgery, and everything in between, hearing fascinating tales of the incredible staff and services carried out in the hospital every day. Hello, just here to see Madeleine.
I'm Madeleine Fletcher and I am Head of Fundraising here at the Walton Centre.
So Madeleine, how's your day going?
My day's going well, thank you. Yes, good.
It's finally stopped
all
raining.
Good. I know, sun's shining, so all good.
Tell me about your day-to-day. What does being Head of Fundraising at the Walton Centre mean?
It can be different. It depends on what's happening, what we might be doing or planning to do. You know, sometimes we organise events, so then it's very focused on that and we're busy doing preparations for that. But on a day-to-day, a lot of times it's speaking to families and patients, you know, whether that be that they drop in our fundraising office downstairs and see Sam or Anne, or we communicate through emails or phone calls. And a lot of patients and families in particular contact us and they want to give back in some way after their loved one's been treated here. So a lot of my day is in one way or another communicating with patients or families. Also staff. I talk a lot to clinical staff about ideas for how the money that we raise can be spent. What are the needs? Staff often have good ideas of things that will make a difference to patients. There's reporting and admin and finance that needs to be done. But yes, it's quite varied.
What is it like when you have somebody contact you to say that they've been inspired to fundraise?
Do you know, I always say this, and we all genuinely mean it. It's such a privilege for us because we are that once they've been through their treatment here, or even during the treatment, they often pop in and see us. So everybody that we deal with are grateful. They're thankful. They want to give back. They are in awe of what goes on at the hospital. We kind of undeservedly, because it's got nothing to do with us, we get that kind of feedback on a daily basis, and we try as often as we can to feed that back to staff. But it's a privilege. It really is.
What passions drew you to charity fundraising? What brought you into the profession?
It was all not very planned at all. I kind of ended up doing what I'm doing. I think I moved to Liverpool in 1994 and started my working career in John Moores University, in what was called the development office, which was kind of alumni and raising money and things. And then I saw a job for Alderhead Children's Hospital, again, fundraising. And I thought, well, that feels more like a need or like a cause that I could really, really get behind. So I went to Alderhead and I was there for about 15 years. So I've only really been Alderhead and here doing this kind of job, but it is very much, for me, it's not about the fundraising as such. It's not a career I would choose to go into. I think if I started all over again, it's the cause, it's the organisation, it's the people I'm working with that inspires me rather than the actual doing. Some of my colleagues, you know, in other charities, that's what fires them up. It's the ask, it's the challenge of selling, and it's not that for me. It's more the other side about where it's going and how much I believe in that and see the difference. That's passion. Yeah. That's how I've ended up staying as long as I have.
Sounds like you need something to believe in to do your job. Why is that?
I don't know. I'm a people person, so that's probably the best thing about my job is all the people I get to work with and on all different levels, you know, internally, externally, patients, staff. And because you then develop relationships with these people, and a lot our supporters are very long time supporters. You know, they've been with us for, well, I've been here for 12 years and nearly 12 years. And there's people I'm still working with now that were involved from the beginning. And this is the supporter side of things. Yeah. So I think it's about relationships for me.
And you say you moved to Liverpool in 1994. What were you doing before then?
I was in America. I left Sweden and went to America when I was 18, 19, something like that.
Wow, what a step.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I'm from a small town in northern Sweden. So at 17, 18, all you want to do is get out, see the world, get away from, you know, forests and lakes. So I went over to America and I worked as an au pair. Loved it over in America and stayed on, went to university. So I was out there for maybe about 4 or 5 years, something like that.
And what did you study?
I studied pre-med biology because I always wanted to be a doctor, ironically. So I did a biology degree, but it was focused on pre-med. But then to go to medical school in America, you needed to have a green card and all that. So it just kind of never happened.
And then you got your head turned by Liverpool.
Head turned by a Scouser who I met in America and who was obviously from Liverpool. So we moved back here in 94 with the intention of moving back to Sweden. But, 30 odd years now, we're still here.
Yeah.
Happy. Yeah.
And has it happened where obviously when you were young, all you could think about was leaving and going somewhere on an adventure? Is it now that that's sort of reverted and you now keep thinking about home?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, funnily enough, I was thinking about this the other day. I've lived here now longer than I lived in Sweden. Obviously, I was only 18, 19 when I left. But Sweden's always going to be home. My mum's still in Sweden, my brother's still in Sweden. So it's always home. But yeah, Liverpool is also home.
And what is working for the Walton Centre charity like?
It's special. It's privileged. We're a small team. We've worked together a long time, all of us. And because of the organisation and the culture of the organisation, you feel, even though we're a tiny team in the, sort of the four of us, we feel part of a bigger team. So I've never felt small or isolated in any way. You just feel part of that bigger family and bigger team, which of course in our world extends out even further because it's supporters outside from the hospital as well. So it's a privilege. And also for me, this is as close to I got to my dream of being a doctor, is working in a hospital and seeing the amazing work they do firsthand.
What are some of the standout moments then for you?
Yeah, quite a few, but I think one thing that stands out for me was during COVID. It was obviously a very challenging time here and in the world as a whole. But I knew as soon as that first day was announced that we're in lockdown and this is going to happen, I did say to the team here, we will be inundated because people will want to help.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. The best of people come out in those circumstances. And it was just so amazing we had little ladies, knitting or sewing scrubs, and schools who were making, trying to make visors for the face. And
gosh, I'd forgotten about the scrubs.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten we had
people
so
all
many people.
Over, yeah, making ear protectors because of you'd get sore ears. I mean, there were cakes, there was pizza deliveries.
I remember seeing you and your team wheeling cages of food and things down.
It's just people don't know what to do and how to help, so they just give. And the people who don't have 2 pennies to rub together were still given. We had all these small companies that obviously a lot of them closed down or went bankrupt sadly during the time, but even before they did, they would help. It was just, again, a privilege to be able to work here during that time and see that firsthand. And the difference it made to our staff as well. I can't even imagine some of the things they went through. So just to know that people were really thinking of them, and that was really special.
And you were able to bring in things like the first class lounge.
Oh, yes.
One of our partners was able to set up so that staff could have a bigger break area, because obviously people needed to stay apart, didn't they?
When it's such a small team, essentially, and relatively small organisation, you really see the benefit firsthand. You know exactly the difference it makes and what it actually looks like physically.
Yeah.
I forgot about the project line. It was all the airline, wasn't it?
What was the name
Project
of it?
Wingman, because all the airlines were grounded. So all the crew went round and we had that. I'm still in touch with them.
It's an amazing thing, isn't it?
I forgot about that. That was fantastic.
Madeleine, have you braced yourself? Are you ready for the quickfire round?
Go on.
What would you be if you weren't a head of fundraising?
I always wanted to be, from when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor. Always my dream.
What's your biggest hobby?
Can you say travel?
Yes.
Even though that's not a day-to-day thing, sadly, but I'd say definitely I love travelling. My favourite place right now is to go to Paris because that's where my eldest son lives.
Favourite song?
Longest time, Billy Joel.
Favourite book?
Anything to do with the Tudor time, any historical,
really?
Either non-fictional or fictional.
Favourite film?
Pretty Woman.
Food you love?
Pasta. Anything Italian, pasta.
Food you hate?
Lamb. Nothing to do with the cute, fluffy animals. The taste and smell. Never, no.
What's the best advice you've ever had?
Ooh, I think I'm still waiting for that. know.
What's on your bucket list?
Travel more. Do you know what? I'd like to go back to New York. That's where I lived for a while, so I'd
Lovely.
go back there. Yeah.
Who's your hero?
Obviously, my mum is one. She's just, inspirational. There's so many people here that I see every day, and you just think, how are you still so, the things you've gone through, and you're still so positive, and lots of heroes that we bump into every day.
And finally, something very few people know about you.
Well, I was going to say that I'm Swedish, but you know that now. 2 years running, I was my school's champion cross-country skier. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah. When I was about 9.
It's quite a busy year for the charity. There's always an events calendar on.
There's 2, 3 that main sort of events that we organise. Organised events is very, very time consuming. We can't do too many. Lots of people do events on our behalf in the community, but the ones that we organise, the main one is the Jan Fairclough Ball, which is held in November, and also the Golf Day. And they are both very closely connected to the Fairclough family. David Fairclough used to play for Liverpool, and his wife sadly passed away here in 2011. And ever since then, David and his children, Sophie and Tom, have been huge supporters of the charity ever since, because of how they were made to feel while she was a patient here, how they were looked after as a family. The ball is a great opportunity for us to showcase what we do. So we always have sort of a focus on the night for fundraising purposes. And it's a lot of corporate connections that come along. We've been doing the ball now for 12 years, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of the same people come, which is fantastic. And we raise between 50 to 80,000 net for the charity at that event. Which is
extraordinary, isn't it?
It is. It's fantastic, considering how many other charities there are out there. And it's a small pool we're all fishing from. So yes, it is extraordinary.
And also that hard work that you and your team put in to be able to provide that ball every year. That is a big win, that those people come year after year, that the Fairclough support year after year. Like they're a huge patron for the charity.
They are.
And the money helps to go towards Home from Home predominantly?
Yeah.
Tell me about
different thing, but Home from Home, yes. That was an appeal that was launched back in 2012 to build relatives accommodation. So the Home from Home is an 8-bedded unit here on site for relatives who of patients who are receiving critical care at the hospital. So somewhere where they can stay close by and not have to travel back and forth. And it was very much, David and his family were very much spearheaded that campaign at the time, because it was just at the back of Jan passing away. And they knew firsthand what it was like to sort of sit and try and sleep in chairs in the waiting area in ICU. So they got very much behind that initial appeal which was to raise 500,000 to build this unit. And once it opened in 2015, so 10 years ago, 10-year birthday this year, the charity now continues to fund it so that our families don't have to pay to stay. It's all funded by the charity. So we need to raise about between 50 and 60,000 every year. So quite often we'll use these events to focus on that and raise money towards it. But also a lot of our other supporters out there who want to raise money, they often ask specifically where could their money go, what difference could it make? And this is always an option that's quite easy to showcase and easy to understand. It's definitely an over and above.
But also, I know that the charity has funded some really important equipment as well in theatres. Tell me a bit about that aspect of it as well.
Again, I'm involved in a lot of the trust committees, the capital programme, etc., so that I'm part of the level where needs are identified. If there isn't funding within the budget for the NHS, because it's as we all know, it's very limited funding, then there may be an opportunity where the charity can help and support, and particular in the area of sort of new technology and innovation, because obviously anything that's required is funded by the NHS.
Of course.
But this is the sort of the latest, or doing something a little bit different, thereby helping improving outcomes, etc. So we've funded back in, I think it was 2016, 17. It was a local charity, Marina Douglas charity, who funded the intraoperative MRI scanner. And that was over £1 million that they provided and funded for us. And it makes a big difference.
Huge.
And it was only, I think, Alder Hey have one, but I don't think there's many other in the region. We've also funded a robotic arm. Well, don't ask me too much about exactly what it does, but I know it's...
This is the one in spinal surgery, isn't it?
And more recently, we funded a training tool for surgeons, a Neuro VR simulator, and actually manufactured and created by global companies that make the flight simulators. So it's similar thing. Again, they use them in America, and there's 1 or 2 in Europe, but we're the only centre in the UK with this training tool, which we've become sort of a national training centre for neurosurgical trainees.
And it is very convincing,
Realistic,
when you're looking through the goggles and you see the image in front of you. It must be really useful to practice in that safe space.
Yeah, no, it is. They're some of the highlights from the new technology and innovation. We also, this is the second year we've done it now. We've gone into a partnership with Liverpool Philharmonic. So something completely different and much more about the patient experience and environment. But we have a programme where musicians from the orchestra come in and they play music with patients, particularly on our complex rehabilitation ward, where they stay a bit longer. And it's a fantastic programme, and there's such incredible feedback from patients and families on that unit. I mean, it extends out of that as well, because they'll do a couple of, we call them pockets of joy, where a couple of musicians will come and just kind of set up in a waiting area or reception and just play music. And it's just amazing to see people kind of stopping, and you hear the music travels through, doesn't it?
Yeah, I remember if we've got our window open, we can hear it. And it lifts the spirit, not only of the patients, but staff as well. They
say it's just an amazing tool, because some of the patients who are on there, they might not communicate very well anymore, or they've had feedback where it kind of extends out to, it becomes something for the family. Somebody said that it's the first time in 3 months they'd heard his voice because he started humming or singing along. They always come in when the musicians are there so that they all do it together. And
amazing.
Yeah, just quite fascinating.
What are the challenges for charities like the Walton Centre charity in the UK?
Well, I think the main challenge is the fact that there's so many good causes. There's always competition, there's limited funding. That's one challenge. Being an NHS charity has its challenges as well as benefits, obviously, but there's a lot of red tape. But I think you do your thing, you've got your supporters, and you make a difference.
And what does the future look like? Where's the charity heading?
We want to continue supporting patients, and we plan ahead. I'm very lucky. We are lucky as a team to have a really good, close relationship with the exec team and the board, so that we can work together and see where those gaps are that the charity might be able to support and fill. Long may it continue.
Imagine the hospital without the charity. What would it be without the charity?
It's still an amazing, fantastic place, obviously. But what we can do and what the charity can do is help elevate in areas where there is limited funding. If we can then provide something where we can look at the latest technology of something rather than the adequate one, we can help support more research, make the environment nicer for patients. It is just that, and it's so cliche, and I shouldn't even say it, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it is that cherry on the cake. But more and more so, like Home from Home now is not just a cherry on the cake, is it? It's become something that's just so part of our fabric here at the Walton Centre, but it wouldn't be here without the charity.
Thanks for listening to Neuro Stories. Over the next couple of months, you can hear from more Walton Centre staff and the hospital supporters in a series of special episodes. The next series will be out in 2026, and we want to know, who do you want to hear from next? Let us know by emailing the communications team on wcft.communications@nhs.net. As always, you can listen to more episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and our YouTube channel, and stay up to date with the latest news and events from the hospital on our social media channels, at the Walton Centre on Facebook and Instagram, and at Walton Centre on X. This podcast was recorded, edited and hosted by Sam Fleet from the Walton Centre's communications team.